start off this week's Girl Weather forecast with a check of the drought monitor across the region. There have been some improvements, so that is the good news. But you can see still some drought conditions stretching up into the northern plains and then off to our south into Kansas as well. They have that large area of exceptional drought from Wichita toward the western part of the state, central part of the state dealing with some of that too. Let's take a closer look across Nebraska because there were some beneficial improvements, some beneficial rains that fell that led to some improvements across mainly northern to western Nebraska down to parts of northwest Kansas. Unfortunately, portions of central Nebraska did see those drought conditions worsen because they didn't see as good of rains this past week. But in terms of this week's drought monitor, we still have that exceptional drought highlighted in the maroon shading, outlined in the red. That's extreme drought, then severe drought in orange, moderate drought in the tan shading, and then abnormally dry conditions highlighted in yellow. Still a very small sliver of southeast Nebraska, looking at no drought conditions according to the latest drought monitor. Let's look ahead toward June though. This is our temperature outlook. We are looking at central to eastern parts of Nebraska, down in northern Kansas, likely to see above average temperatures for the month of June. That stretches up into the northern plains, off to the west as well. The southern parts of the U.S. looking at that possibility as well, and then parts of the northeast looking at the possibility for above average temperatures when you average out the entire month of June in those numbers for temperatures. And then something we haven't seen for a while, our June precipitation outlook, looking at above normal precipitation currently forecast from western Nebraska towards parts of central Nebraska down into western Kansas too. That stretches down to Oklahoma, parts of Texas, and then off to the west as well. There's a small sliver of the northwest looking at below average precipitation for the month of June, and then we are looking at above average precipitation for the state of Florida, a lot of it I should say, and then that stretches into other parts of the south too. Let's look farther out. June, July, August temperature outlook. You can see from the east coast down toward the south and then up to the west, looking at the high average possibility of above average temperatures for that 3-month period. This includes a small area of the panhandle too, parts of Kansas included in that, but a lot of Nebraska and almost all of northern Kansas, looking at equal chances. So we're not seeing any shading in those areas because we have equal chances. And then farther out for the precipitation outlook, you can see parts of the east coast, then off to the west, near the Great Lakes, down toward the south too, looking at the likelihood of above average precipitation for that 3-month period. And then anywhere with that tan shading, likely to see below average precipitation for that time frame. Here's our almanac for this week. Normal high right around 74 degrees, normal low right around 52. Our week ahead average high is above that. We see those temperatures really hovering right around that 80-degree mark. And then our week ahead average low right around 55. And then our proverb for this week, very short, but as the Friday, so the Sunday. That's a check of your Girl Weather forecast. We'll have the latest coming up next week.
Whether you're planting, branding, or doing other work on the farm and ranch, we want to see your pictures. Go to our website, nebraska.tv, and chime in.